Welcome back to another Millennial in Debt video. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you get a ding every single time I upload a video. Today's video is going to be talking about something that we love to do, and oftentimes cannot do it as much as we'd like because we are financially responsible for so many other things. Now, what that is traveling. I love to travel. Who doesn't love to travel? Going on adventures, seeing all new things, eating all new foods, meeting all different kinds of people. It's phenomenal. But traveling can get a bit expensive, especially if you don't know the ins and outs on how to do it properly. So this video is going to go over 4 main categories that you need to pay attention to or focus on when trying to travel the world for cheap. In 2018, I went on 8 trips, 8 vacations. I visited 4 different countries, so 4 international trips and 4 local or domestic, and it cost me under $4,000. Now, I have mentioned a couple of these things in a previous video before that I'll link above, but we're doing a new updated, refreshed 2020 version. So let's dive into these tips and tricks. The first thing that usually costs the most amount of money when trying to book your travel, that is the actual travel part, so the plane ride. I particularly use 2 things specifically, and I know there are millions of other ones or variations of them, but I've had success with these 2 things, and these are the ones that I'm going to talk about. First is Google Flights. If you have not used Google Flights, that should be your first step when you are looking to book any trip anywhere. Because what Google Flights will do is you can put in your destination, or you can put in your dates, which I like to do. Put in the dates that you want to travel, and it'll show you the price of plane tickets pretty much everywhere around the world, right? So if you know you want to travel for a week during spring break in April, but you don't know exactly where you want to go, or you want to figure out what fits into your plans or fits into your budget, you would put in those travel dates into Google Flights and just look at the world map and see where you can afford and where you want to go. What I also like to use is the app Hopper. Hopper sends me notifications whenever the price of tickets to different places goes up or goes down. And I think as of late in the more recent version of Hopper, you can freeze the price. So let's say you're not ready to purchase the tickets today, but you're really nervous about the price going up. You can put down, I believe it's like $60 or $50. Pay it to Hopper, and no matter if the price goes up, you will pay the price that you saw it on. So that day, or you will pay the price of whatever the ticket was on that day. I think it only lasts for 2 weeks, so you can't just pay the $60 and like book in 4 months. I wish that's how it was, but at least gives you a little wiggle room. And I believe the $60 goes towards the ticket price, and it's not just some arbitrary money that you're paying the app. So the next thing when you're looking for travel or to travel for a really good deal is lodging, right? So those are the 2 big things: the actual travel, the plane ride, and lodging, right? Where are you going to stay when you are in your location? I love hotels. I love high-end hotels, but I know high-end hotels usually do not fit within the budget that I'm trying to stay within when I'm traveling all across the world. Now, the only time that I will stay in high-end hotels or in hotels in general is if I feel that the area is not particularly too, I don't want to sound like a jerk, too safe. So where they're having some sort of political unrest, or staying in like outskirts of the main town isn't the safest route, right? Or staying in like a random house is probably not the safest route. So those are the only times that I would stay in really high-end hotels, and I would try to always stay in the center of wherever city I'm in. That is very, 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 very expensive, and unless you have planned for that down the road in your future travels, it is not really the best way. The other options that you can take: Airbnb. Airbnb has been a savior in many of my travels. Airbnb works best when you are doing group trips. So if you know that you're going to travel with 6 people or over, then taking an Airbnb or going to an Airbnb is going to be far more fiscally responsible and work out better for your budget than if you decide to stay in a hotel. Another option for you for lodging is hostels. I have never stayed in a hostel. I've seen the film Hostel. It didn't sit right with my soul. But if you are completely comfortable with staying in a hostel, those usually are going for like $20, $30, $40 a night. And what I always tell people, especially when I'm helping my friends kind of get together their travels, you're not going to be staying in the hotel or the Airbnb or the hostel very often. It's really going to be a place for you to put your head down and sleep whenever you're done with your day's adventure. So if you know you can live with a lot of amenities, live without a lot of amenities. I know I don't have a lot of amenities in my own home. So, right? If you know that you can do it without a lot of amenities, then you can kind of save money on lodging. I don't really rent cars when I go anywhere. It's very, 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 very rare. I find that taking public transportation is definitely a cooler experience. In my opinion, it kind of helps you figure out the city or wherever you are and interact with more people. And I'm all about those types of adventures. And taking public transportation where you go will save you lots and lots and lots of money. And yes, so we have hotels, we have Airbnbs, we have hostels. We also have these like interesting like hotel pods. They're not everywhere. There are a lot. I've seen them a lot in Asia. They could have them in other countries too, but I'm just speaking from experience. So what those like hotel pods are, they kind of look like coffins. Large coffins. They look like large coffins. And you don't really get a lot of things. There's no like huge amount of amenities. You pretty much get a bed. And you rent it, I think it's like $20, $30 a night at most. Most are around $20. You travel, you experience, go, and then you come to your little AirPod, hotel pod, go to sleep, and you wake up and you do all these amazing things the next day. So if you know that you could do without a lot, then that could be another option. You could also couch surf if you have a friend or family member that lives in the area you're going to. Make sure you ask them before you show up at their house and sleep on their couch, because that's rude. You can also look up, I think Airbnb, I know Craigslist has it, but Craigslist is kind of like skeevy. But Airbnb does have options where you can rent a couch from someone in their home, which would be far, far, far cheaper than if you get a hotel or Airbnb. I'm not necessarily comfortable with that. But again, if you are and you know you want to travel and you know you want to fit travel into your budget, then that is an option you have for lodging. Now, the next or the third aspect of traveling on a budget is eating. Obviously, you have to eat wherever you go. And I know a lot of times, especially if I go on vacation with certain friends or family members, they're all about going to these big fancy restaurants. I'm not a huge eater in general, not when I'm at home, definitely not when I'm on vacation. So I don't need to go to a 5-star restaurant to enjoy the food of whatever country I'm in or whatever city I'm in. So I like more like local eats or street food. I know that could be a little risky and dangerous for a lot of people, as I have a weak stomach as well, but I haven't died. I'm alive. So you can save a whole bunch of money if you are more open to the idea of getting authentic local eats around wherever you are instead of going off to like a super huge 5-star restaurant. I know when I went to Cuba with one of my close friends, we tried like all different restaurants. We went to like super high-end restaurants. We went to local eateries right by our Airbnb. And some of the best food that we had in Cuba was from like little local shops and little local eateries instead of like huge 5-star restaurants. So that's just something to keep in mind. Enjoy the experience of being where you are and don't worry about buying like $700 worth of food for 4 days. It's just ridiculous. Okay, and the last tip or tool that I'm going to offer when you're trying to travel on a budget or really see the world for a cheap price, it's a 2-parter, so I guess it's 5 things, whatever. The first thing is you want to be very flexible and open to experiences, ideas, and locations. So like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I use Google Flights, and sometimes I don't really know where I want to go. I just plug in dates of the time I want to travel. And sometimes you really want to just be open to the location as well, right? So let's say you like, oh my God, I really want to go to Paris, or I really want to go to whatever. Be open to flying into maybe an outside city or taking the train between countries. I know in Europe it's so easy to travel from place to place to place by train. And what I highly recommend, because a lot of times people will think, oh, I could just like fly into this small city, it'll be cheaper. Not always. So you want to make sure you're using Google Flights to compare. I find that traveling to really big airports is actually more beneficial to my pocket. I know when I fly to LA, I fly into LAX, and I can get like a ticket for $160, as opposed to if I'm flying into San Diego, which is the local or the smaller airport, it'll cost me about $300 for the same amount of same time period of travel. Same thing like when I've traveled to Phoenix. So like smaller airports are going to charge you more than if you fly into a bigger city. So flying from JFK or flying into like Philly or Miami or Atlanta, Chicago, those really big airports, those big hubs are going to give you a better price than if you're trying to like go into like smaller airports. So that's something to keep in mind. And also for experiences outside of just like food, because food is definitely an experience, you want to make sure that the experiences that you're having, the experiences you're paying for are really worth it. And I'm all about paying for experience, but you don't want to spend your time focusing on, oh my God, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that. And it's going to cost you way more than if you would just enjoy like the local things surrounding and looking into the free things. I know when I go to like LA, or when I go to LA is really like my second home at this point. When I go to LA, I'm always looking for really cool, fun art and street things to do for free. Even in New York, when I'm here at home, I like to just walk around and see different things. And it doesn't have to cost you anything to have a really fun, good experience. And I think the more that we let go of, I have to see every single attraction that this city has to offer, I think you'll have a better time traveling. You'll be able to do it more, and it'll cost you far less. So those are my tips. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you fly or drive or do all these amazing things this year. In 2020, I have so far 4 trips, 4.5-ish, but mostly 4 trips planned, and who knows where the world will take me. But I hope that you don't let money stand in your way of really traveling, experiencing, and seeing the world, and just living as a millennial or a Gen Xer or Gen Z or baby boomer, whatever you are. Enjoy your life, enjoy travel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.